Whalie, the old whale. Each beginning is an end. If God's eyes were blue, they would look like the Pacific. I look down from 30,000 feet, and the sea seems so smooth. Yet the cresting waves litter the blue with thousands of tiny points of light. In every direction, a deep blue, like the eyes of God. I wonder if astronauts, when they flew around the Earth, thought that. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. What matters is this. It's been 36 years since I was in Hawaii. My wife and I have been divorced for 8 years. After our children grew up and we were alone together, we both realized that what we had in common was being good parents. They say you never stop being a parent, but when your children are having children, well... My wife had always loved to travel, and wanted to do more of it. She was a tourist through and through and loved to go look at things all over the world. Me, I liked pottery in my garden. I liked to make things and see things grow. And yes, I loved to write. We both knew that when we got married, but after so many years of seeing how different we were, how our happiness was in different places, it just made sense to get out of each other's way. And so we did. Still, we were good for each other in many ways. I hated to travel when we first met, but she dragged me to as many countries as she could. It wasn't until after we separated that I realized how much I appreciated it, to see the world and all its wonderful places. Except one. 36 years. I'd been so scared to fly back then. It didn't matter how beautiful the island was, or how much they said I would love it. Being in an aluminum tube, where the air was so thin you couldn't breathe, scared me half to death. More than that, though, it was the idea of being carried by something dead that really did it to me. For some reason, the fear of flying through the air inside a metal hull that didn't care whether you lived or died really bothered me. I didn't even think about the fall. That didn't scare me. The idea of soaring through the air, the billowing wind, and me inside watching the world, that was a different kind of flying. It doesn't scare me now. All it is tedious. People sleeping, waiting, boring meals, the occasional shake-up. People like to get up and walk, move around the plane. I don't. It doesn't really feel like moving. That's alright, though. This flight is almost over. My plane lands at Honolulu Airport on Oahu. My car rental has no hiccups and I start to drive. I'm not staying in Honolulu, though. The city has beaches, shopping, but that's not why I'm here. I leave Honolulu, the traffic getting more and more sparse as I head north into the mountains. The few motels I see have progressively cheaper prices, but I'm not staying here. I'm not staying here for long. I head off to the north of the island, or North Shore as they call it. I am looking for one particular beach. Isolated, beautiful, blessed with a soothing breeze that always seems to be there. It's not hard to find now, and there's a small beach house I reserved for a few days. It is the very same one my parents brought me to when I was very young. A long time ago. Stepping inside is like going back in time. It looks the same. Decorated like it's still the 70s. There's a gas stove, a hammock in the corner by the few windows overlooking the beach. I feel soothed and on edge at the same time. It's like going to school for the first time. But no one is there. I drop off my things and make some tea. I have my own. I have a lavender chamomile blend that I mix with peppermint. It's very calming. It's quiet, except for the slow drum of waves outside and the faintest sound of a breeze. My kettle boils just as the sun is barely beginning to set. It's only late afternoon, maybe 4 o'clock, so it's still bright. But the world looks to be getting a bit dimmer. The mountains rise steeply behind me, and the sun is behind them. I have time. There is a wooden table, looks to be rough construction with no finish. The wood is pale. It's smooth, though, and I sit down to wait and drink my tea. Time passes, I think, and the world turns. I breathe in the steam through my nose, smell the lavender, and let it permeate my body. The cup is hot in my hands. The island is hot too, but the breeze and the shade from the mountains keep the heat from being too oppressive. The light is getting lower, but it's still bright where the sun shines on the ocean. How much longer, I wonder? I breathe in the air and I sit. My mind is calm. I find the waiting easy, just like the breathing. Memories don't surface in the house. Not the ones I want, anyway. I remember my parents when they brought me here. Their faces were so young. They were younger than I am right now. Still just kids, I guess. I remember the way my dad would smile and hold my mother. Her dress flew in the breeze, and he stood behind her, his arms around her. Her eyes would close, and she'd lean her head against him. I miss them deeply, but they're gone now. I don't remember closing my eyes, but when I open them, the light has changed. It's dimmer now. There's no edge of brightness cutting into the world. It's like a softer, gentler light has fallen across the beach. This is the time I was waiting for, and leaving my teacup behind, I set out to walk along the beach. I'm not sure how far, but I'm not worried about that either. Is it still late afternoon? I can't say, but it feels right. The sun is setting over the mountains, over the other side of the island, to the west side, and just a bit south. It seems closer to twilight. No, it feels closer, but it's not. I sit on one of the large yellow-white sandbanks, watching the ocean. The breeze smells familiar. The way the palms move in the ocean sounds. They feel familiar, too. For a while I relax, allowing myself to be soothed. Allowing myself to be soothed by the flow of the tide, by the easy breeze. It's been so long. It comes from the ocean, a vibration low and very old, an ancient sound. Tears spring to my eyes without warning, and the memories surface. I don't know if they're real, but I believe they are. It was so long ago. Part of me doesn't want to remember, so I wait, and I breathe. It takes moments, and the images form in my mind, flowing into it from the sea and the air, from some place old and vast, inside. This is why I came. Take me. Show me. Tell me the story.